This is how I turned one of my apartment rooms into my very own YouTube video podcast called The PT Lounge. And whether you have your own video podcast or you're looking to start one, I provided the links in the description of all the equipment that I have in this video. So let's get started. Okay, so this room is an 11.5 foot by 11.5 foot room. It's quite compact, so I've kind of just made sure that everything is intentional and where it should be. Starting with the room, this is a carpeted floor, which is great for the audio, and it kind of absorbs some of the echo, as well as if you come over here, I've kind of put into this corner a couple sound panels, these great sound panels, so it just absorbs some of the audio coming in from when I'm talking to my guest, as well as right behind here in this wall, I have a moving blanket that I got from Amazon. It came in a pack of 2. It just kind of right up against the wall, and this isn't really seen in the video, but it's just great for audio. Majority of the video experience is the audio, so if the audio is bad, then the video is not as enjoyable. Next, I'm going to be talking about the room and the ambiance. Every video podcast has its own vibe to it, so I've kind of placed things around the room that I enjoy. But first things first, I think every video podcast has a fake plant. So I got this fake plant. It's tall enough to where when my guest sits right here, you can still see some of the plant in the video. But I just got this from Hobby Lobby, but you can kind of get it from IKEA. Next, I have this lamp in the background, which has a light from Govee. I bought it on Amazon as well. The cool thing about this light is that I can, through my phone, adjust the brightness as well as the color. So if I wanted this to be a blue light, a red light, an orange light, I can kind of change it through my phone. And I just keep this nice and warm and pretty light, so it's not too bright when it comes to the background of my guest. I have next a banner here, the PT Lounge, that I've kind of just printed. In this corner here, I have another light stand. It is a warm color. I have Proverbs 3:27, my favorite verse in the Bible. And then I have this shelf right here from IKEA, nice and heavy duty and sturdy, as well as a couple things that I really enjoy, you know, books, volleyball. I have one right there, as well as in the back. I've got my orange Air Jordan ones that I wore at my wedding, which I really enjoy, and I just kind of put it there for as a memoir, and I love just seeing it every time I come into this room. But that is pretty much it in terms of the things around the room. Now let's get into the fun stuff, which is the tech and the gear in this room. First, I'm going to be talking about my lighting, because lighting is so important. In this room, I have a overhead light, which I keep off because it gives off a warm light that is pretty bright, and I kind of don't like that filling this entire room. Instead, I fill it with nice daytime lighting. And first, my first light is this GVM 100W, and I love this light. This is pretty heavy duty, and you just have to place it wherever you want. Sometimes I keep it pretty high, sometimes low. It is adjustable, and the reason why I love this light is this is one of those lights where you just buy it once and it can last you forever, and you can use it for so many different uses. With this light, I can also change the temperature as well as the brightness. And so I always keep this one roughly around 5400 Kelvin, which is daytime lighting. I want daytime lighting to hit me and my guests in the face, and then the background is going to be a little bit warmer, so a kind of different tones there. My second lighting is my first ever lighting that I ever got. It is this Mount Dog. I believe it's less than $50 on Amazon. The cool thing about this is it's so much more lightweight compared to the GVM, and it comes with this remote, which I can turn it on and I can turn it off just like that in a switch of a button, and I can also change the brightness as well as the warmth of this light. So when it comes to lighting, I have 2 sets of light, one light that is hitting me and then the other light is hitting my guest. Let's get into the audio next. And again, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, majority of the video experience is audio. So I've invested some money into some pretty good audio equipment here, starting with the microphone, which is a Samson Q9U. I love this microphone. I have 2 of them, one for myself and for my guest. It has that really rich and bold radio studio sound to it, which I really enjoy. And through that, I have an XLR cable that is being fed through this audio recorder, which is the Zoom PodTrack P4. I absolutely love this audio recorder. It hasn't failed me yet. And I think the cool thing about this is that it has 4 ports. So it has 4 ports for XLR and 4 ports for headphones. And if I wanted to record a 4-person podcast, I could. The cool thing about this microphone is that you can also attach a USB to this where you can go directly from the microphone into your phone, and we'll kind of go over the camera equipment later. But if you have a phone and this microphone, you can have yourself a pretty solid video podcast setup. And for headphones, I have the Audio-Technica ATH M20X. And during the podcast, I wear this microphone as well as my guest, and you can just really hear your own audio as well as the guest, so you can be a little bit more focused and intimate when it comes to the sound. When I have this on, I don't hear anything else in the room, which is really great to just focus in on the podcast. Okay, going back to the Samson Q9U microphone, I'm going to be switching from the audio from the camera. And now I am talking into the Samson Q9U. As you can tell, there is just this kind of radio boldness to the sound, which I love. And it really does sound like a video podcast. And that's why I love it so much. I think right now on Amazon, it's about $100 or so. And so it's a really good investment. All you need is a microphone, an XLR or a USB, and you plug it straight into the audio recorder or your phone, and you are good to go. Now we are switching back to the microphone that is connected to the camera. And last but not least, it is the camera equipment that I use. For my video podcast on the PT Lounge, I use a 3-camera setup. I have a wide shot that includes my guest and myself, and then I have another camera setup that is just for me and another one for my guests. So the main camera that I use for the wide shot is actually the camera that is being used right now. It is the Sony ZV-E10 with the 16mm 1.4 lens by Sigma. Sometimes I switch between this lens as well as the 16 to 15mm kit lens that comes with the Sony ZV-E10. But I actually put this camera onto this lightweight tripod, and I've attached a Fulcrum by Ulanzi f38 quick release plate on here. So now I just put that camera on here, and the cool thing about the quick release is that in just one press of a button, I can remove and attach the camera onto this tripod. And usually that just kind of stays right here, and it is pretty steady. And so let's go into the other cameras that I have. These are my brother's cameras, and this one is a Canon 60D with a 50mm lens to it. This is a really close-up shot at me, and this is my camera that is directly pointed straight at my face. Moving on to the second camera, the camera that is towards my guest. It is this Canon 80D with a 18 to 35mm lens. This is more of a wider shot, so typically I keep it at 35mm, but you can kind of see where I'm sitting right here. The Canon 80D is going to be right there, right in front of the guest. So that is pretty much it for my studio video podcast setup. Again, this is just an 11.5 by 11.5 space, and whether you have a really big room or a compact room, I think what matters most is how you utilize your own equipment to make the experience yours. Again, thank you for watching, and I provided all the links to these equipments down in the description if you are interested in buying them yourself. And lastly, if you are interested in watching one of the episodes from the PT Lounge, you can click on the screen here, as well as another video where I created a 101 on inpatient rehab, because I'm a physical therapist and I work in the rehab department. So check out that video and enjoy.